I'm thinking the bear market rally is over. I'm going to make the aggressive early call on that, and I'm going to show you in the charts what you're going to see if I'm wrong with that call, so you can be nimble with what you're doing with crypto. And we're going to link in this video traditional finance with how that is going to make Bitcoin behave, and I'm going to give you precise key levels so that you can have a more profitable crypto journey as we scoot along in this bear market. You ready? Let's get some Bitcoin. With traditional markets, I was thinking that we're going to have a lower high. Posted this on Twitter before all of this price action happened here. So I posted about right there, and it has come up perfectly. And if I'm going to be incorrect on, and that was the 5 very, very small term time frame charts. If I'm going to be incorrect that the bear market rally is over, it's going to be simple. Does SPX break above its current local high or not? I don't see any more room for fake outs to the upside. I think this last rally up in whales preparation for the news they already knew was going to be released. They knew it was going to be a nothing burger, both events on Wednesday, which both of them were. So they drove market up before on Tuesday because that was their last chance, and I think it's down from here. Let me zoom out to show you what else I'm seeing within these charts. I'm going to go maybe to the 4-hour chart, and I will go ahead and take off these EMAs and check this out. And again, Bitcoin moves directly with these guys, all right? So on traditional markets, here's SPX. You have traditional finance all-time high, and you have a very simple trend line that everybody's looking at, but you also have this zone right here that everybody's looking at. So this black triangle, for 2 different reasons, is going to bring sellers into the table. Folks buying into this rally will also stop being buyers. So therefore, what's going to happen is you're going to have multiple groups of people become sellers. So the pressure down will increase for 2 different reasons. And the folks who were buying into this rally who weren't current sellers and were not contributing to whatever down pressure was happening. So some folks from the buy pressure, okay, are at these lines. They're going to buy less for 2 different reasons. And I think that the vector of force of buy pressure will end up being smaller than the sell pressure, because people entering with sell pressure and people stopping the buy pressure, I think it's going to create a reversal here for that reason. And if you look at Dow Jones as well, the Dow Jones index, you hit an origin line and you roughly hit the same type of pattern here. Boom, boom, bada bing. And you have a very similar setup with, you have a key zone about right here with all these wicks down, which was previous support. You have the same area. So, but you have 3 things in play. You have this trend line that everybody and their sister's looking at. You have the horizontal, and you have this origin line. For whatever reason, they're all 3 crossing at the same point. So you have 3 different groups of sellers coming in, and you have 3 different reasons why people buying into this rally will not buy as hard, thus shrinking the buy vector. So these are the reasons why I'm making what I might call an early or aggressive call. So this is unconfirmed clearly, but I feel that I just feel moderately confident that it's okay to make that early call. But I want to label it as such. It is an early call. It's an aggressive call. It's definitely not a conservative way to go about things. However, with what I'm doing with my crypto portfolio, I mean, I feel that this, I've covered throughout my channel the last several times, whale games video, different thumbnails that I posted about traditional markets. I really think it's overextended for more reasons than just these basic shapes that anybody can throw up there. I've measured the percentage distance from the daily 89. It's SPX is overextended in that way historically, going back to the 70s. I think the sell pressure is going to begin, and buy pressure will shrink. If you are somebody who's been following my channel, you will have picked up on that. But I'm going to refer back to those same levels that are insinuating things are overextended in this bear market rally, but I think that's where things are going to bounce. So that's what I mostly want to connect with crypto here is on traditional markets descent down to its daily 89, which has a 100% hit rate in the last 4 decades of happening in a bear market rally. Even if it then goes up to all-time highs, it still hits the daily 89. So I'm going to connect this with what that is going to look like in crypto, because we can expect a bounce here soon-ish, but it is implying downside first, and it could last 10 days. And let's dive into Bitcoin and what that's going to... Actually, let's dive into the traditional markets to see where it's going to bounce, measure the percentage, and then see where that might be on Bitcoin. And I'll cover Ethereum in a different video. Links to the Discord community in the description section of all my videos. My Twitter handle is @Cosasverdes #2 if you want to see me post some bomb charts. And also the YouTube tiers, there's a join button below this video. If you click it, another video pop up describing what you get. Among those things are 15 to 30 daily alerts a week, usually 6 days a week, and recordings of the Cryptillion tier from Discord. All right. Recordings of the videos, that is. And we're going to throw on the daily 89, the weekly 10, and the daily 10 right here. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to say is going to happen, and this is Dow Jones. I want to go to the US 500. Let's go to SPX. All right. I think that there could be a first bout. Let me go to the 15-minute chart here. I could anticipate a baby bounce off of the daily 10 EMA, which is white. Daily 89 is purple. So daily and daily, 10 and 89. Weekly 10, the weekly 10 EMA is aligned with the daily 89 as of now. Okay, so I could see a small bounce from here, a lower high, and then come meet down to both of these EMAs, which will slowly be increasing like this. They'll be slowly advancing. Something to that effect. I'm going to make that purple. So again, that purple is the daily 89, which is the key indicator for all bear market rallies for the last 40 years in traditional markets for all indices. 89 EMA. Let me make it purple. There we go. And what I can see happening here is you want to throw on the daily 10 because you can expect some type of bounce, a lower high, potentially a strong lower high, and then work its way down to the daily 10, to the daily 89 and the weekly 10 for another bounce, which could meet these highs or spike just above it. So it could spike just above previous all-time highs, which still is in the context of the bear market rally is over, right? If you squeak out a higher high after hitting this, I think that's expected. So it could actually come up slightly higher. But Bitcoin has been underperforming the market, so I don't expect Bitcoin to go over what its current bear market rally is at 25.2. I would not expect Bitcoin sometime in, so this would take until September roughly to happen, late August, early September, maybe even mid-September. But let's say August 25th to September 10th. I don't think Bitcoin will have the power to get back above 25.2. So I do think that crypto, maybe not altcoins, okay, but Bitcoin, I don't see the bear market rally going any higher than what it's already gone. For SPX, historically, when it bounces off the daily 89, it does make a higher high on the double bounce. Not always, but it is more often than not. It just barely squeaks out, takes out all the liquidity of, stops or, whatever's happening on all these, the charts on this, the different tickers on this, within this index. And this is what I could expect. But so within the aggressive call that the bear market rally is over, I am seeing the potential for one more market cycle local high late August through mid-September, only after the daily 89 is hit. I do not see a local high being hit before that is, before like 2 weeks of downside, 10 days of downside, at least a week of downside. So it's going to be, in this context, it's going to be easy to determine when do I make my bets that Cosas is wrong. Well, if in the more immediate sense, if this local high on SPX is taken out, then I'm probably wrong. What could end up happening? It could take out that high and then go down and do exactly what I'm thinking. It's possible, but I would still be wrong. That would mean that the bear market rally was not over. If it spikes up more immediately and then goes down, well, I mean, I was wrong. I was just a little too early. It's possible. Or it's possible that it just keeps on charging up. But remember, it's done that 0 times in the last 4 decades. It's too far separated from this EMA. And even when the traditional markets go up to all-time highs, after the SPX gets roughly 4.5% above the daily 89 and it hasn't used it as support, around that time, it turns around and goes to retest it and then goes on to make full market cycle all-time highs. Every time, with the 0 exceptions in the last roughly 4 decades. 0. And that's why I think it's a very, very high probability that this bear market rally is over. And even if I'm wrong that in regards to the idea of it is a bear market rally, which it's possible that it's not. It's possible that this is going to zoom up to all-time highs. Even in that context, I still see this downturn happening first because it's too overextended above that purple line. It needs to touch that first unless something brand new in 4 decades is going to happen. It's possible, but it's simply unlikely, right? So there are 2 ways I'm going to be wrong. One way, it'll more immediately make a local high, and the other way, it will Bitcoin, like altcoins and traditional market will correct hard, but after it corrects and bounces off here, then it continues way higher than this local high, and it fully breaks this trend line. That's possible as well. So there are 2 ways that I can easily be wrong with this early aggressive call, and now let's go connect that with Bitcoin. All right. So from that is about a 3.5% down move. Bitcoin has been underperforming the market, and usually it moves about 3 times as aggressive in either direction as SPX. So 3 times would, shit. It'd be 9-10%. That's the bottom of this channel or this horizontal support. So I'm going to put a black triangle down here on SPX's way down to the daily 89. I can see Bitcoin hitting this black triangle essentially. And let me put some price tags here. So that's going to be roughly somewhere between here. I can easily see that happening. However, there is a nuance to this. Because Bitcoin has been underperforming the stock market so much on its way up, it is possible. It's actually better than possible. It's a strong possibility. I mean, maybe even close to 50-50. It's let's call it a coin flip, that Bitcoin begins overperforming or performing better than the stock market on the way down, and therefore does not move to triple the effect of the stock market in the down direction, and only does 7% down instead of 3.5, which is so I measured down how far the SPX has to go to the purple line. It's right about 3.5% times 3, roughly 10, right? So instead of 10, it could only go down 6 to 7% because it's stronger than the stock market as the stock market goes down. It's probably a coin flip. So in that case, if Bitcoin becomes stronger in that move, let's just measure down from here. I mean, it could stop at this point. So one of these 3 zones is where I would see Bitcoin forming a low before it. And I'm not saying it would reverse from there and go to all-time highs. It could just come up and get rejected by the top of the point of control, somewhere around $24,000 after this, right? But these are the 3 levels that I could see Bitcoin correcting as SPX hit its daily 89. And once SPX hit it, I could see it getting rejected by the point of control of this range that is about a 50-day range. So the importance of this point of control, given that the range is getting longer and longer and longer because Bitcoin's been going sideways for a while, I mean, this point of control is going to be pretty tough to get back over once Bitcoin goes below it to check this. It's going to be very, very difficult, especially it'll be its fourth oscillation above. So let me back out let me zoom out, and you can see here that how many oscillations is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it'd be its 6th oscillation, and it's probably going to get rejected from that point, somewhere 24K or lower if one of these 3 levels are hit. So that's specifically what I'm looking out for on Bitcoin and how it will behave. If I am wrong, so remember there were 2 ways that I can see myself being wrong with this early and aggressive call. Even if SPX spikes up more immediately to make a local high, I still don't think Bitcoin was going to go above 25.2. Bitcoin's been underperforming the market on the market's way up, and it's not going to get above there. So even if I'm wrong in the immediate sense, Bitcoin, I think, would probably hit what I might call the origin line. I bet it would get rejected. Let's see here. I just don't think it'll go all the way up to 20. It won't get above this horizontal at 25.2. All right. However, if I'm wrong in the sense that traditional markets are going to race to all-time highs after it hits the daily 89, well, then Bitcoin is going to hit simply one of these three targets. And again, this is completely in the cards. It is possible that Bitcoin hits one of these three levels. So here, here, or here, and then goes up to 28 to 30K. It is possible. I don't think that's the most probable thing, but it is within the realm of possibilities within my top 4 most likely things to happen over the next month and a half, 2 months. It is possible. Regardless, once Bitcoin hits one of these three areas, you can, unless there's some type of catastrophic event in the stock market where it's just accelerating to the downside, just tanking. If you do not see traditional finance tanking, then Bitcoin is, once it hits one of these three levels, it is going to bounce a considerable amount, a very tradable amount, perhaps 8%, 5%, 10%, but it's going to very, very, very likely get a decent bounce and then prove resistance lower on this range as opposed to proving resistance at the top, which it's done 5 times now, right? So it's going to prove low resistance and then give up and then fall out of the range. And that could take till September to October. Okay, in the conditions that my guess is correct, that the bear market rally is over for both traditional finance and Bitcoin. And if you want to try to copy this range, I'm on the, let me see if I can do this on the 1 hour chart so you can see the chaos a little bit. Yeah, you can still see it. So if you want to check this out, here, maybe I will actually label this. So the bottom one, let's go from, let me put this on the exact date now, so you can just make the coordinates of this. Watch. So from wick down there, so the wick of June 18th to current time to the current day is 21,355. So so this one right here and this one right here are the coordinates of the bottom line. The top line coordinates to Bitcoin's wick high of 25. So you just connect that one, and you connect this guy down here. Those are the coordinates, and everything else is just parallel. And you just hold control and copy. Oh no, I have this locked. I don't know if I can copy it when it's locked. Yeah, I can't do it when it's locked. But you just hold control, drag it, and it makes a parallel line, and everything else is just parallel, and you start fitting some things together, right? The blue line is my interpretation of an origin line. You can ignore that blue line. But if Bitcoin does, or if SPX does make a higher local high and more immediately, in that sense, I'm wrong in the immediate sense. This is as high as I see Bitcoin going, is that blue line, 24,765, if I'm wrong more immediately. And again, cannot stress enough, I'm making an early/aggressive call on this. And I could easily be wrong. So I'm trying to, instead of saying, hey, I'm, this is, and trying to be, and I've done this in the past, like all proud of my guests and everything, and trying to, get people to essentially believe the same thing. I'm giving you a disclaimer. There are 2 ways I can be wrong, and I just showed you what Bitcoin would do in that case if I'm wrong in those two cases. And also, I showed you what you would see on SPX or US 500, whatever index you want to use, in the 2 ways that I could be wrong. So you are prepared for me to be wrong, right? Because I want to prepare you for in the case I'm wrong, and hopefully you find that valuable. Okay. So I'm sort of covering my own butt with that, essentially, if you could say. But it's not really covering my own ass. I'm trying to make sure that if I'm wrong, that you are prepared to flip so you can make money when you're wrong. And that's a really important skill set. How do you make money when you're wrong? Well, I mean, today I'm stopped out on stuff all the time with $5 profit, and I get paid very little amounts sometimes to be wrong. So learning how to make money when you're wrong, when your original guess is wrong, is an important skill set. So I'm trying to help you out with being prepared for that. Now, let's take a look at one more chart here on Bitcoin, and this one's a lot cleaner. So in general terms, this is the next origin line down. Bitcoin likely will bounce. I think I had it at what level? 21. It's likely going to bounce here, make a lower high. So more longer term, bounce here, make a lower high somewhere around 24K. And then ultimately, I think you could then start accelerating to the downside to hit this next origin line somewhere in, potentially later September of 1971 to finally go under 20K. And then you're going to get a lower high there. And then what's going to happen is either the weekly 10 or the daily 10 is going to, one of these EMAs, they're going to come down here and price is going to get stuck here, and it's not going to want to fall below this origin line until one of these two EMAs catches up. So the big move down, technically this is a big move down, but the more aggressive move down is not going to happen until Bitcoin has gone under 20K just by a little bit. And then it's going to chop sideways for, I don't know how long, but let's just call it, why isn't it giving me the time on that? There we go. I don't know why it's not. What are you doing? There we go. It could go sideways for 2 weeks to allow then the EMAs to catch up. And that's when you could get your next leg of the capitulation. But you're not going to get a next leg of like full on capitulation until this weekly 10 or the daily 10 pushes price below this origin line hovering around here. So you're going to get another bounce here, then it's going to go sideways, and then it would tank. It's not just going to capitulate from this point unless you start seeing crazy sell-offs on the stock market. That could create Bitcoin to capitulate more immediately because Bitcoin is technically got rejected from an origin line like 4 times, and the EMA has already crossed it. So it's possible it's getting ready to capitulate. But because the daily 89 and SPX needs to be hit and you're going to get a bounce, I don't think the next leg of strong capitulation, if you're expecting the next leg down, I don't think it's going to happen until September, October because of what I just showed you. SPX needs to bounce on the daily 89, so no capitulation there for a bit. And it's got to go all the way down, then bounce again, and then go down again. That's going to take a month or 2, right? So that brings you to, that could be October. And hell, it could be late October until you get your next strong leg of capitulation. Capiche? Capiche. So hopefully, in terms of how you're playing your portfolio, the timing. So outside of the levels I've given you, hopefully this timing helps, I guess, temper is not necessarily the perfect word, but it helps give you essentially helps give you timing for your plays. So you don't think, I get all my cake at once. Like, I don't want you to eat all your cake now, expecting a big ass move down, right? It's going to, because when let's say you moved into Tether because you're following some of my alerts on Discord. Again, the links to the Discord community are in the description section. But so I've been telling my community the last couple of days, hey, if you're in spot trades, like it's time to start strongly considering tethering up. Not financial advice, right? Pokemon cards only. And but if you have done that successfully and you just see price and then get stuck sideways and it really hasn't gone down, it's going to be frustrating. So if you can take this timing as an expectation and know that I'm expecting that time frame, your crypto journey is going to be more profitable, because you're not going to renege on stuff and go backwards and undo what you've done, right? And it's going to be less emotionally frustrating because you have set healthy expectations on the time axis. Hopefully I've left you with some good thoughts there. You just got Timified worldwide. Click the links on the side, either side, for bonus material, and we'll talk at you later.